Dr. Liz Cat Vet. I'd love to share with you today a bit of behind the scenes about the cost of veterinary care.
This is what our day normally looks like. Here's the appointment schedule so you can see all the vets columns, and then up the top right is the procedures list for the day.
Have you ever wondered why it costs so much to get your cat's teeth cleaned? I'm going to break it down for you as to why we charge what we do. Are vets rich? Importantly, I'd like to share with you 3 key ways you can help keep costs down for your pet's healthcare. I'll break it down here. So you've got, say for the cost of teeth cleaning, you've got the anaesthetic, you've got the actual scale and polish, so the equipment, the maintenance of that, the initial outlay that you paid off over years. Everyone seems to be struggling at the moment. The cost of living has become sky high, and a lot of things have changed since COVID with cost of materials. Vets are not immune to this. We've been having stock shortages for things like vaccinations, medications, even some dental cleaning products. The cost of electricity, building maintenance and rent, surgical equipment. Wages is obviously a big expense. Fluid therapy, monitoring equipment, so anesthesia monitoring, and most importantly, you're paying for the expertise of the staff to monitor your pet's anaesthetic, keep your pet alive. There is always some risk with anaesthetic. We are determining their risk level. We are reacting if there's an issue. Issues are rare, but they do happen. Also, when you're looking at a surgical procedure, it might be a fairly short time for us. However, it's not really about the time it takes. It's about the expertise that goes into that. It could be the past decade of experience that's gone into being able to perform that procedure quickly. Vets have been underpaid for a really long time, especially compared to our fellow medical practitioners, doctors, human doctors. One of the big reasons for this is because of Medicare. Human healthcare is subsidised, so this can lead to this perception that vets are expensive because there's no government subsidies occurring. We have the same equipment to pay for. We have X-ray, CT scan, software. Take, for example, an ultrasound. This piece of equipment is tens of thousands of dollars, and it requires maintenance. Not to mention ultrasound skills, it requires hours and hours of training. Often I'm still at the stage where relatively new at using this piece of equipment. It's a highly detailed ultrasound probe. It can look at the different layers of the intestines. There's 4 layers that you differentiate, and you evaluate the thickness of it. They're looking for signs of disease like inflammatory bowel disease, small cell lymphoma, really common in cats. I often will get another senior staff member like the specialist I work with to double check it. So there's more hours of professional time that you're paying for. There has been a high attrition rate in the vet industry just due to the burnout and stress and the relatively low pay for what we do. There has been some uptick in wages. However, it's still a lot lower than you would think. What about desexing? It's actually relatively cheap. And there are also these schemes at low-cost places like the RSPCA, Animal Welfare League, and there's also the National Desexing Network here in Australia who will help subsidise it for people who can't afford to desex their pet. Why is this? Vets heavily discount desexing procedures. The reason for this is there is health benefits to doing it. Also, it's a moral obligation. We know there's overpopulation problems. So there's feral cats in Australia, and it leads to decimation of wildlife. Countless feral cats that are even in cities, like there's obviously a lot more out in the country, but in the cities there are cats that are sort of part owned. People bring them in and say, oh, this cat just kind of turned up and she's had babies, and so for competition for resources, it's a health problem. So that's what vets want to do. We want to keep pets healthy. So there can be health problems with being intact. There can also be some, you've got to weigh out the pros and cons with desexing. They're more likely to gain weight if they're desexed. However, you can feed them, majority of cats, you can feed the calorie controlled and they'll maintain a healthy weight. Interestingly, there is a study coming out about the GLP-1 inhibitors and weight loss. So there's been a massive boom in use of that product in the human world. So the Mounjaro, Wegovy, Ozempic. There are some pets out there that just seem to not be able to lose weight no matter what they do. And so the research is always quite behind in felines. But it's a watch this space one. What are some ways you can help keep costs down for your cat? Biggest one we advocate for is regular health checks. This is not a money-making exercise. This is because we know cats are masters of disguise. They will mask illness. We are highly trained in the feline physical examination. Check out my video about that, what to expect at your vet visit. You can pick up things that your cat would not tell you otherwise. So I've seen countless cats with painful teeth that just keep eating regardless. We also look at screening tests when they reach a certain age, when they become mature, so double digits, 10 years of age. And that is picking up things a lot earlier than we used to. We used to only pick up one of those common illnesses like the hypothyroid disease when it was very far gone and harder to improve their health. Now we're picking up a lot earlier before it's done secondary damage, like say to the heart. One of the key things we monitor at Feline-only practice is their weight. So as you know, Maisy, that was her basically only sign that she had terminal cancer was weight loss. Pets are also living longer because we're doing better preventative health care, such as here in Australia, tick prevention is really important. Dental care, as with humans, they're living longer because of it. Sadly, we're actually seeing more cancer because the longer you're alive, the more likely you are to get cancer because your DNA turnover has more chances of making errors, and that's how cancers often start. One of the biggest things that you have control over is what you feed your pet. So historically, we've fed the dry kibble, and that is still a very valid, great diet. It's balanced, complete. It's got all the minerals and nutrients they need. With the promotion of more raw diets, we do see more gastroenteritis. We've even seen some skeletal deformities from having insufficient things like calcium, phosphorus ratio. Diet is huge. Diet is shown, good quality diets are shown to increase their longevity. Along with diet, it'd be good to get, it is good to get into that regular routine of when you're petting your cat, searching for ticks if they have any access to grass, grooming, so brushing them if they don't like it, train them with licky treats, and you might be feeling lumps and bumps that you otherwise wouldn't, it could be hiding under their hair. Other ways to keep top of costs, insurance is a big one. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not fit to give financial advice. I have just seen firsthand the benefits of when someone has insurance versus when they don't. It can literally be the difference between life and death. We have insurance for ourselves. Why don't we have it for our pet? Yes, we have Medicare. We don't yet have Medicare or Veticare in pets. So there needs to be a contingency in terms of it's heartbreaking for us and for the owner and for the pet when decisions have to be made based on finances. I get it. Realistically, there's no endless pool of money for people. It's wise to have some money put aside. We all know it's wise to save money for a rainy day for other things like emergencies, have an emergency fund, have a pet fund. I certainly do as a vet, even with a industry discount. I recently did a CT scan for Maisy. Even with my discount, it's still a significant outlay because you're paying for that equipment. You're paying for the expertise of the specialist to interpret that image. And it was well worth it for me. It may not have really changed things. However, it gave me that peace of mind in a way to accept how bad the disease was. And, information is power and can help us make decisions. She's certainly getting very light, and I can feel that her liver area is getting more enlarged, and still got the quality of life there, still eating well. So that's one of the biggest signs we're looking at. If your cat is not eating or sleeping a lot, definitely get them checked out by your vet. I hope this has been helpful. Please comment with any questions about other things you want to know about behind the scenes of the vet industry with costs or procedures or otherwise. Bye for now.